As promised, welcome back to the channel. In front of me is a 2.9 twin turbo Technics engine that I've had stored in my garage for the last 5 years. So, what is the plans with it? Well, I'm going to dismantle it and find out what Turbo Technics did to these engines to get to the powers they were. This one here is in fact an F73. I'll show you that in a moment. It's on top of the plaque, which is on top of the airbox where the VAF sensors are. Now, I haven't got a great deal of tools in my shed because they're all at work, but I've just tried to undo some of these torque sockets as I go. Some of them are already stuck. Since this is my only one here, I don't particularly want to go and drive over to the workshop to go and get one of these, because if I break this, that's the only one I've got, and these are rubbish. So I will be using a hammer just to knock it a little bit on the top of these bolts to hopefully loosen them up. Now the other problems is that these exhaust studs down here look pretty rotten. There's a good chance they're probably going to snap. So we shall go through it all. Oh, before I do that, I need to take the clutch off and the flywheel, so then I can mount it on top of the engine stand. But as you can see, currently well, actually you can't see. Currently it's a bit of a mess around here, so I've got to try and make it a little bit more tidy, because my engine crane, which is sitting somewhere in the background over there, has already made a hole in the front next to the door, which is down there somewhere, where the wheel went through it because it was holding this up, because it's a pretty heavy engine. Anyway, I will crack on with that and you'll see what I've got to do. So as you can see, the engine's sitting there. I've got another engine over there. The engine stand's there. Engine crane's there, and somehow I've got to lift this up, get it on there. So I'm going to take the clutch off there and flywheel that's been on it forever, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing breaks. Interesting clutch. So as you can see, the engine is in mid-air, and I've somehow got to get it on that. This could end in tears, it could end in wheels into the wood. As I said earlier on, it already has happened once before over in a corner, down there somewhere, so we'll see. This could end up being the end of the shed, because this is really heavy. Okay, as you can see, it is currently mounted on the engine stand, and let's do a little walk around this engine and see what we can see. So firstly, you've got some custom made turbos on this particular model, and slightly different back end to the other one I've got. Anyway, I'm going to be taking some photographs of the hoses and things like that, because if I do eventually want to put this back together, if I'm sure I will, I want to make sure I put all the hoses back in the correct places and where they go, because I don't know where they go on this particular one. But as you can see, it still has, the ones who know, it has the wiring loom for the DCU device that controls the second injectors. So we've got all these bits here that I had attached to, whoops, it was attached to the, where is it? Oh, that's over there. It was actually on that little wheelie thing, so that was on there, and that's how I got it to come round here, which was an absolute nightmare to say the least. Right, so because what I wanted to find out as well is to find out what they did with the on this particular model. That's the point, because this is the four-wheel drive. This actually came out of a Sierra, I do believe. Oh, how crazy is that? Look, they're not even seized. Bloody hell. What about this one? No. Mad. Right, well, it's still got oil in it, as you can see. It's dripping out from the front diff area. This is part of the sump, but this bit here is a screw on top, which suggests that it actually came out of a Sierra. Now we've got the split point there where they split it off. So see what kind of screws they've got. So everything's on here 13mm or some kind of imperial, hopefully. Hopefully it's not imperial. Right, okay, so I'm going to take the turbos off and then go from there. So I wanted to talk about some safety aspects of what I'm doing here. So first of all, I'm using gloves and I have steel toe cap boots on, and they are a must if you're doing anything heavy like this. It's not the first time I've dropped something on my foot. I did it when I was younger, probably about 17, 18, when I used to work in a warehouse. I was actually wearing trainers, one of those stupid trainers with all the springs in the back, thinking I was cool, and I dropped a pallet strapper on my foot. Now, if you know how heavy they are, if you've ever worked in a warehouse, you know they're very heavy. Anyway, I broke three toes on my left foot. So yes, they are very heavy. Not the big ones, but the little teeny ones. And it fell right on top of the metal. Sorry, right on the flat bit on my foot. So it really hurt, and I was limping around for a while. So then I definitely wear steel toe cap boots. They work, and yeah, I recommend you wear them for anything heavy. Okay, so back to the engine at hand. Let's start taking this to bits. So typically, as in good fashion, I lost my 13mm somewhere amongst doing all this, but I found a long one, and I a long 13mm and also just a Halford's half-inch 12 side. Anyway, found something interesting. They used aerotite nuts on the backs of the exhausts for the exhaust housing down here. Interesting, isn't it? Well, it is to me. And, well, I thought they were going to want to do, clearly not today. Probably going to snap off. There's me thinking it was M12, it was 13mm, and it's not. It's 12mm. So I've given up trying to get the back bit off. I'm going to try and undo the turbo itself. Get it off. Coolant line there. Size of circle. Oil line. By the looks of things, yeah. Doesn't look like there's much left of this coolant line either. That didn't last long, did it? That's a braided hose. That's for the coolant line that runs down the back down there. So that's one turbo off. That will be the near side bank. Now I can reach all these. See if I can get them off with a gun. It was quite handy actually. some of you don't actually know, this looks like a grey cover one. So would you say that's grey or would you say that's black? Looks kind of black, doesn't it? Or is that grey? No, it looks grey, because look, you can see parts of it on there. So that means that if it's a black one, it's an early version. Now if it's a grey one, as far as I know, if I'm reading this right, it's a later version which uses a different type of TFI module. So this is the potential, this is a later engine. Correct me if I'm wrong later, but as far as my understanding, both TFI modules will fit the distributor, but they give different signals to the ECU. So, and one will work with the other, and I think the other one will work, but it won't advance or retard or something along them lines. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they both fit and they both will run the engine on either one of them. Right, so there's loads of information on Google. If you Google TFI module, you'll see it and you'll find it. That's the clamp for it. These are the horrible gaskets they used. That's like that's a cork one by the looks of things, I think. Looks like it had a bit of metal stuck in that one and all. Yes, cork one. But there is neoprene ones that were available from America on not Rock Auto, what's the other one? Summit Racing, and you can find them, they are on there. I think I've got them on my save list. I may even actually link it down below. So I need to get a 13mm now. I just remembered which one it was. It's the bolt that holds part of the dizzy in down at the back. It's holding it back. Not the dizzy, I mean the dizzy part. It's got like a little. I'll show you. So we've got the dizzy here, and if some of you don't actually know, it has a small clamp which holds that there, and then there's a bolt down the back there, and I forgot about it, thinking me trying to take it off a minute ago. So but it looks like they had timed it up to a point. Normally the timing mark is around here somewhere. Where is it? Is it somewhere around here? Is that it there? I think so. One of these two. That's probably TD. I'll have a look. Normally it's on the side of the dizzy where it is. Some of you don't actually know, this looks like a grey cover one. So would you say that's grey or would you say that's black? Looks kind of black, doesn't it? Or is that grey? No, it looks grey, because look, you can see parts of it on there. So that means that if it's a black one, it's an early version. Now if it's a grey one, as far as I know, if I'm reading this right, it's a later version which uses a different type of TFI module. So this is the potential, this is a later engine. Correct me if I'm wrong later, but as far as my understanding, both TFI modules will fit the distributor, but they give different signals to the ECU. So, and one will work with the other, and I think the other one will work, but it won't advance or retard or something along them lines. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they both fit and they both will run the engine on either one of them. Right, so there's loads of information on Google. If you Google TFI module, you'll see it and you'll find it. That's the clamp for it. These are the horrible gaskets they used. That's like that's a cork one by the looks of things, I think. Looks like it had a bit of metal stuck in that one and all. Let's cork one. But there is neoprene ones that are available from America on not Rock Auto, what's the other one? Summit Racing, and you can find them, they are on there. I think I've got them on my save list. I may even actually link it down below. So I need to get a 13mm now. So what I like to do is, when I've got the push rods out, I like to put them in on a piece of cardboard. As you can see, it's not to scale, so it's not actually in firing order or anything like that. It's just so that I can remember it, and then I put in where that I found them, and then I'll do the same on the other side. Just make a hole like so, and then you can remember it when you put it all together. If you plan to put it all together, it's just so that you can remember where they go, etc. like that. And if someone wants to buy it, at least then you can say, well, that goes there, and you thought about it when you actually took it apart. So that's all you're doing, really. Some people just throw it all anywhere and then they just adjust it later, but I like to do it like that. Okay, so now I'm presented with the heads, and if some of you aren't familiar with the 2.9, they had stretch bolts put in them There may have been some that weren't put with non-stretch bolts, say like 10.9, or very highly unlikely that it's going to be a 12 point, but as far as I know, they were all stretch, and they're going to be Torx, and they're going to have a shoulder on them as well. The early 2.8s were all non-stretch bolt. I've got boxes of them over in the corner, so it's best to try to take them off with a bar and a Torx, because these are Torx, so I'm going to take them off with a Torx socket. I don't really want to go and damage them, so I'm going to try and do it in a roundabout motion when I take them off, so it's going to start from centre and work my way out. So I've got my T55, and let's try and start with the near side bank. Ooh, clicky. Okay, so I've taken the heads off, and so far everything looks as it should with a normal 2.9 engine. The heads are over there so I can inspect them. I have some standard cylinder heads down there as well, and I also have some brand new spanking new ones that have never been fitted to engines in the corner. Now I'm going to take the sump off, but I do believe this has got oil in it, so I'm going to drain all that out, take the sump out, and then swing it all the way around. Well, it still had oil in it after all this time, and a bit of water and all. Right, so as you can see, those are the ones from the engine, and this one here is a brand new one that I bought probably 15 years ago, roughly. I bought that from eBay, and I want to go and check to see what kind of difference they are between the two. I would have loved to have been able to put a plexiglass over the top of these cylinder heads, and then had a syringe and checked the amount of cc via the syringe, but unfortunately I've lost my plexiglass as well as the syringe, so we're going to try and do it visually. Right, so let's open up this cylinder head I have here, and then at least then we can work out to see what's what. Okay, so I've got the other one out, and as you can see that looks identical to that one there, and as it strange as may be, I've actually picked up the same cylinder head. How have I managed to do that? Oh, yeah. Anyway, so the combustion chamber here looks remarkably deep and small, but when you look at the Turbo Technics version, it's wide, especially around here, and around near the spark plug area, and around here. So that's how they lowered the compression on it. So they removed material, and you know what? That's almost identical the way the process of how the Jan Speed one. You remember my Jan Speed one, my Jan Speed 2.8? Well, what they did is they actually removed material out of the cylinder head to lower the compression of the engine. So that is very, very interesting. I don't know how much that would be in comparison to that. So next time I get some plexiglass, I'm going to put it over the top, and I'm going to see how much cc they removed from these cylinder heads in comparison to these, because then that will be very, very interesting to find out how much they actually removed. Obviously I can't actually tell right now, but you can definitely see, look, that's actually the new one. That's one that I recently purchased for another project that I plan to do, but this is a different. As far as I can tell, they're pretty standard crowns on these pistons. So that's the crown on that one, and then this is the standard engine down here, and as you can see, that looks pretty much the same as that. So let's get that. Well, come on, zoom or focus. Right, that looks pretty standard to me. They didn't do anything on that. I don't think they changed any of the, well, oh my god, it moves. It moves. Well, doesn't look like they changed any of the profile of it. I can't imagine they put any kind of like H-beam conrods in any of these, but you know, crazy thing to have. Maybe they put arc bolts on the conrods, who knows. But I'm going to take the sump off. It's a 4-wheel drive sump, so I'll crack on with that. What I wanted to find out is if they put a high pressure oil pump in this as well. So I wanted to potentially Google the oil pump number. So I might Google that and find out. It's in very good clean condition. Obviously a chain drive engine, if any of you didn't know that. That all looks pretty standard to me. Looks like it has been rebuilt at some point in its life. They're not, they don't look like arc bolts to me. Yeah, this has been rebuilt at some point. Okay, right, well, I am not going to go any further than this because, to be honest, there isn't any point. So, okay, thanks for watching, guys. This is the end of the video. You may want me to dismantle this part of the engines, but to be honest, I don't think there's any point in me doing so, because from what I can see, everything else is standard. Turbo Technics didn't go any further with actually changing anything on it. The mains and the big ends are all standard, they're all Ford style ones, so I'm not really going to go any further with that. But I thoroughly enjoyed dismantling this engine. If you want to see this kind of thing again, let me know, hit me up in the comments, or or message me on Facebook. I am on Facebook in the Granada forums and on some of the other forums to do with these particular engines. But I'm going to determine to see if they did anything to this oil pump. There's a good chance that they just changed the oil relief spring in this to create more pressure for the twin turbos. But it was a really good find. All they did was just change the combustion chamber on the cylinder heads over there in comparison to the standard one and the one the Turbo Technics did. But it was a really good find. Anyway, I'm going to continue to do these kinds of videos. My next step is a ST200 engine in comparison to an ST24 engine to see if there's any changes or differences that I can see between the two engines. Anyway, you stay safe and you subscribe. You take care, guys, and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers.